One of the sessions that I did in Alaska was on compassion fatigue. And I really had to laugh because one of the aspects of compassion fatigue is misery loves company. That people suffering from compassion fatigue, that is secondary trauma, really love to complain to each other a lot. And they create a kind of tertiary trauma. So there's the original trauma, then there's the secondary trauma, which is, those who bear witness to suffering in the world and try to help facilitate. And then there's a tertiary trauma, and that is when gratitude is absent, gratefulness is absent, when the air of complaint and misery is shared and infected and is a virus in a community. And as Brother David over the years has brought gratefulness to our community as a theme and into my life at least as a practice, something to be deeply aware of. One of the things that I have been aware of is our liturgy in Zen. What we do in our morning service is a long expression of gratefulness. We express gratitude to our ancestors, to the Buddha, to the teachings, to the bodhisattvas, to the local ancestors, to the world that we live in. And that's how we end our Zazen practice. Jason, who is our chant leader, chants all this thank you, thank you, thank you, grateful, grateful, grateful. And yet it's so interesting how often, we can walk out of something that we have forgotten to pay attention to in our churches and in our community halls and our zendos, which is a profound expression of gratitude and gratefulness for this life, for the health that we have. I remember our mutual friend Paul Haller, one day, he and I were leading a sesshin together, and he said he was walking down the road and he thought about his brother who only had one leg. And he was so grateful that he had two. Do you remember that talk? And then I was thinking about the people who have been in pain that I've sat with. When I'm not in pain, I don't even remember to be grateful. How much we take for granted in our lives. And how we actually add to our fatigue through our unhappiness, through our ungratefulness. So Brother David did this miraculous thing some years ago, which was to establish a community of gratefulness, realizing that we need to support each other in behaviors and thoughts and in wonderful ceremonies that bring gratitude forward in our communities. And so he's here tonight and he's here over the next few days with members of the close community to share some of what we have learned over the years about gratefulness. And to know that most of you who are engaged in bearing witness to suffering can back away from compassion fatigue by the practice of gratefulness, by doing what Maizumi Roshi said so often, which was to deeply appreciate your life, to be grateful for this life, and to really see if you can move past, like the good bodhisattvas that you and I are, the deep air of complaint, so that we can complain genuinely about the injustice in the world and actually nourish, if you will, our nerve endings and our heart well with an attitude that is fundamentally generous.